Welcome to the Apex Chronicles, where we rise from the lowest valleys of our lives to the highest peaks of our purpose. I am your host, Coach Hope, and today I want to share something with you that I held in my heart for a long time, and that is my story. The story of how parental alienation syndrome tried to silence me, erase me, and how I found my voice again. How I healed through all of the betrayal and narcissistic abuse tactics. There was a season in my life when I was living in a storm that I couldn't even name. It was a bad thunderstorm. Tsunami came, and I found myself underwater on troubled seas, unable to grab all of the pieces of me, the scattered pieces of me. But I held on to one piece, one very important piece. And that was the knowledge and the desire and the anger that I felt. I let that fuel me, and I held on to that until I could get to safer shores. Understanding or knowing what attacked you, what taunts you, what haunts you, what prevents you from getting up out of the bed. Parental alienation almost killed me. Yeah. I didn't know and I didn't understand the psychological, emotional, and abuse and all of the transformative ways that it brings you to your lowest valley. I couldn't name it, to even tell a doctor, to even tell the therapist what it was that I was experiencing. How can you get help when you don't know the name? I am a mother, yet so slowly erased from my children's lives by manipulation, by lies, and control. See, many people know me as AP, and they know me as a co-host of a poetry venue. They know me as community organizer. They know me as mental health advocate. They know me as LGBT Black Pride president. They know me as homeless advocate, founder of In the Life St. Louis. They know me. They know me for so many great deeds in the community, so many great deeds in the lives that I've touched in the world of social services for 31 years. They know me from mental health to the media and these streets, from St. Louis to Los Angeles, California. That they know me based on the persona they see. They knew at one point in their lives. But they didn't know me. They didn't know my story, my true story. They didn't understand what I was silently going through. The hurt, the shame, the blame, the erasures, the blocked calls, the change of address. But they know me by my works and my greatness in the community. An answer for those who face mental health crisis and living unhoused or food insecure. Being an answer is a wonderful, wonderful feeling. And it is a lonely feeling when you cannot be an answer for your own life, for your children, for your babies. Caught up in the windstorm of parental alienation and family enmeshment. Caught up in domestic violence and child abuse. Because caught up by family who is supposed to protect and love and honor them. As a mother, I have been journeying and navigating these savage roads of parental alienation as a targeted parent. Slowly erased from the memories of my babies. Started off with visits and little whispers every day being planted in their ears and in their minds and in their hearts. Every visit, every summer visit, every visit after church and on the weekends became a place where my abusers believed that was their place. That was their mission. To erase and make me invisible. Not ever being seen again. Kicked into exile. Out into the wilderness. Jesus hung out in the wilderness. parental alienation, it weaponizes love. It confuses the innocent. It makes a parent grieve for a child who is still alive. And no system helped me. No police officer. No court. Not even child abuse and neglect agencies. I was beyond myself when I learned how verbiage is used against you. How if you don't have custody papers, then your partner is just as capable and able to assume all rights and responsibilities and has such. I didn't know that I needed to have some kind of special order for my children to be mine. My children that I laid down and opened my womb and released. My babies that I nursed. My babies that I prepared for before they even got here. My babies that I wanted because I chose to have them. I never chose to have them for someone else to steal, kidnap, abduct, or hold hostage from being able to be embraced by my hugs and love and presence. Yeah, I never gave permission for me to be defamed and lies of deceit take form and root in the lives of my babies, in their hearts and in their minds. Healthcare professionals lied to. Educational systems lied to. And my babies were hidden through the veil of private homeschooling and private schools and no question of where can we contact the mother. My identity had been taken over, hijacked by family enmeshment, by the third abuser who this is all about. Yeah, my story. It has paralyzed my tongue, my thoughts. But I found a pen and paper. And so I wrote the 18 years of my life of alienation and exile. I wrote to record and remember. Yeah, I wrote as a measure of therapeutic release. Until I finally found the right mental health provider. I walked in darkness. Even in understanding the name, I didn't understand how and why God, the devil, and these people chose me, chose my womb, chose my babies, my daughter, my son. To hurt, to deprive them of their mother. That hurts. And no community service could ever replace my babies. But it is the work I did so that I could heal as I moved forward. My healing didn't happen overnight. It came in bits and pieces throughout these 18 years. And therapy and prayer and journaling and having very few but honest conversations with a few friends that understood and knew what happened and what was happening in real time. I thank God for those few who had grace and patience and love for me, a hot mess, torn apart, but living every day, hoping, as they say, your babies love you. They'll come back one day, and they'll want to know what happened. And I held on to that hope that one day my babies, 9 and 10 years old at that time, would be old enough one day and curious enough one day to want to know what happened to our family. What happened to you? I know what I was told, but I want to hear it from you, Mama. I've been hoping for that day. Last December, I put in a prayer request. That prayer request was answered in January of 2025 when I received the phone call from my daughter. Yeah. Wanting to hear and learn and understand. I shared my truth that I hope someday we'll be able to sit down with a reunification therapist specialized in parental alienation and family enmeshment and narcissistic abuse. That would bring not only my daughter, but my son. My son. My baby. Yeah. See, it wasn't no use in talking to folk about it that couldn't understand, that wouldn't have the empathy, wouldn't have compassion, because they didn't understand it. Some years ago, there had been folk who were told ugly lies online. I went viral before viral was a thing back then, to be celebrated. And then have lies be spoken was a hurtful thing. But I pressed forward in community while the devil dared got online and said, don't you follow her. You don't follow. Not her. And then the lies were spewed, and as I read it, I said, oh my. This is what they've been eating. That's what they've been feasting upon. The babies who suckled on my breast for nourishment and food. It's a hurtful thing to sit there and see your womb betray you. But I had to understand absolutely what that was and why that was. Yeah. I had to gain some understanding so that I didn't lose the mind that I had. I'm telling you, y'all, I made lemonade out of bruised lemons. The only thing I could lean on was my faith. Well, I was mad at God because I didn't understand how, God, can you give these other believers of yours permission to abuse and take and rob me of my babies, of my mental, psychological, and emotional stability. Why? What did I do to cause such hate. So I wrote, and I wrote, and I continued to talk to God. Yeah. Until I started understanding. And I started to heal, because I could understand what that thing was and what I couldn't name. So when the evil folk wanted to have the audacity to reach out to communicate, they communicated in hate, but I returned that hate with love, with fuel from my anger, my disappointment. I found myself in community, helping others, focusing on nature and what was around me, that I could feel the void where I could be an answer. And so I did that with my head held high. It wasn't easy, because there were days and years I numbed my pain. I could barely sit in church to hear what was being said, because the betrayal was so deep that it went into the church. I called not only the police, but I called the church to help me. Somebody help me and my babies. I never got a phone call back. Never got an acknowledgement back. I went to the attorneys and I went and I talked to them, and they said, if your children live across state lines more than 6 months, that you will not only have to find an attorney that practices in Missouri, but in Illinois. I'm telling you, obstacles and never understanding why until now. Yeah. Until now, what the enemy set up and plotted. My God was in the room when they plotted. When they came with their deception. Oh, we're going for a summer trip. I'll bring them back. And then don't. I just know that had I not chosen to find community and to move forward despite my obstacles, I would not be here today to even tell you, share with you the tools of recovery, the tools I use to help me get up out of a dark place, a dark plot, dark tactics used by narcissistic abusers. And what the family enmeshment look like, how families can either help or hurt. Mothers, fathers, children. Reunify, come together. So now I can speak to parents and explain to them and how they'll be dealt with. Should they not have court orders? Should they not have the financial means to have an attorney? Should they make $2 more to meet the income qualifications of getting free attorney or a discounted attorney? Yeah, I am that one who had come from poverty up to middle class, only to fall down. All of it is a process. All of it causes emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual, economic abuse and harm. But it's time to talk about it so that others can get free. See, it's one thing to get free and not tell anybody, not want to share it. A lot of people do that. But my getting free is for the masses. It's for God's children. Because see, over 22 million Americans are experiencing parental alienation syndrome. And over 10 million deal with severe parental alienation syndrome. And that's me. That's the category I fall underneath. Severe parental alienation syndrome. There's severe, moderate, and mild. So it is an invisible diagnosis. But me and God, we are at last in alignment. Or let me say, I am in alignment with God, my Creator. Yeah. And I am hopeful again and joyful, and I absolutely got my fight back. And that is the joy of my story. How you get your fight back. When a thing come to kill you, to destroy you, to defame you, to separate you from your mind, body, and soul. How to get it back. How to reclaim your voice. Yeah. That's who Coach Hope, a.k.a. AP, a.k.a. Audrey Pearson. Yeah. I got my purpose. I got my lane. Yeah. 31 years of being that child abuse and neglect caseworker, testifying in court, reunifying mothers and fathers. Yeah. being a job readiness coach for young adults coming out of detention centers and helping them to fill out their applications and resumes. All of that. Youth specialist for lockdown facility for the women's unit, for the girls' unit. Social worker, caseworker for adults with severe mental illness and helping them restore their lives, get back into school, pursue employment, training them on their jobs. Helping children in psychiatric hospitals, helping them move past their pain and grow and go on to be successful young ladies and successful young men in the community, and then going on serving on the front lines of the homeless crisis in Los Angeles, California. Boots on the ground, baby. Thriving and helping and uplifting and embracing. Yeah. That right there, God did not dismiss that. Called into this purpose, I am. Yeah. On the front lines of the LGBT community and helping out within the mental health community, doing walks in our advocacy awareness, walking in pride parade, and creating visibility around invisible people who have extraordinary lives, purpose, calling, gifts in their hands. I am among them. And I applaud me, yet though my work is not finished. Now it's time for another tier in my recovery and forgiveness of myself, of what happened to me, is serving individuals who are navigating parental alienation silently, mothers and fathers, bringing community together because the village is burning down and we need to save families. We need to save our children. We need to save our fathers and our mothers. We need to save our family from destructive people. The destruction of parental alienation and the harm that it causes. The more I share and talk about my journey, I pray that it will educate you and give you insight in how, if you are a provider and you have a young adult or a parent talking about what has happened in their family, you please address parental alienation instead of just labeling it, oh, parent-child conflict and all of the other DSM-5 approved language and categories. I advocate for parental alienation syndrome to have its own DSM-5. Yeah, code. because it's necessary. And it's necessary for justice. Yeah. And as we wrap up, I know that every time I share my truth, another parent finds the courage to speak theirs. So if you're listening right now and your heart is broken, please, please hear me. You are not crazy. You are not alone. Healing is possible. Your story it still matters. So I thank you for joining me on the Apex Chronicles. Also visit me at www.globalhumanity.us for coaching, advocacy, resources, and upcoming episodes. Remember, even when life tries to erase you, your purpose is still written in ink. And it's written in the books in heaven that will never fade. I'm Coach Hope, and this is the Apex Chronicles.